Hello, welcome back to C.A.V.E 623.
I'm going to start you off with a quote. Deep intimacy is so much more than pleasure. Deep intimacy means that you heal your core wounds, liberate yourself from your most limiting beliefs, and finally realize that how you always yearned to express yourself and your simple beingness is what feels most attractive to your partner. If you settle for anything else but this, you are in disservice to your soul. That's Lauren Crin.
It's a good quote. I just couldn't agree more as far as thinking ahead, thinking about your partner. Kara did an amazing job of this even today. That's why we kind of wanted to do this podcast today. It was an awesome reminder of how she does just that, and she's constantly thinking ahead. It's Father's Day here soon, and so she planned this beautiful day where all the kids would come over, all the adult kids. She planned it like a month in advance. It was really awesome, very sweet of her.
We have 7 kids and 2 grandkids, so it's challenging. Most of them are adults, so it's challenging to get them all together at once. So.
Right, and it was just cool of her to do that. It was very fun. We played some pickleball, goofed off outside, and then played some cards and stuff. And anyway, it was just a very cool thing, very sweet thing. She made an amazing meal, by the way. She's an incredible cook. But I just, couldn't appreciate that enough. And that's what's so cool is I feel like she's always doing things like that. And so as far as trust and safety that I feel on my end when she's doing things like that, it makes me feel thought of, makes me feel welcome with her, makes me feel loved, and that I mean something to her. And so it's very cool. I very, very much appreciate it. And just thankful that she's my wife, and that's what's so fun about having a relationship, that you do require certain boundaries, you require certain things as you grow together. The beautiful thing is, as you respect those boundaries for each other, and it just brings you together, and then you're starting to do cool stuff for each other. And I think when you can appreciate those things, I mean, down to the smallest thing, appreciating every effort that came your way on, from your partner. That's a beautiful thing, is to learn to appreciate, learn to be grateful, learn to be thankful, and see the value in it, see the safety that it creates for your relationship, see the trust that it builds in your relationship. So,
So on the subject of trust, how did that help you trust us more? So first of all, let's back up. How was what I did for you today different than what you may have experienced in your past relationship?
Well, in my past relationship, there was a lot of selfishness going on. I mean, it was about them, and I didn't have, something I did wrong is that I didn't hold good boundaries either. I didn't require things for myself, so I didn't love myself in a way, because I didn't love myself or respect myself enough to require that from my partner.
Probably because you're walking on eggshells all the time, right?
Sure.
If you don't do what they want all the time, you're babysitting their feelings, you're babysitting what they're wanting and demanding, and you're sacrificing yourself to keep the peace, right?
Right.
And so could you say that you had a lot of trust in that partner?
Well, absolutely not. It was all conditional. Everything was conditional on my effort, or my what I put into it. If I didn't put in enough, I didn't feel like enough because I was being told I wasn't enough, basically, right?
So you're only loved if you do exactly what I say, when I say it, and feed all of my desires whenever I want, and
Right.
you're only loved if you do, and if you do it in a specific way, right?
Right. So, which I
You
would say
can't ever win
no, and
in that situation.
that's what was so frustrating in the past. But now that I would say part of being healthier now in a healthy relationship, I had to learn to get healthy myself.
Yes.
And so anybody that's listening to this or watching this video, I hope that you'll understand that concept. It's a very key concept, that you've got to love yourself enough to hold your boundaries, to respect yourself and what your needs are, and be able to communicate that very well to your partner. The cool thing is, like, as I've done that and as Kara's done that with me, we've gotten to this place in our relationship where it's very safe. It feels very connected, and that's what's so cool is we do cool things for each other. You know, another big one that I didn't even see coming. You know, so I'm a huge Broncos fan. Like, have been since I was a kid. Love watching the Denver Broncos, and I used to go out to a lot of football games when I was younger, just because I could afford it. But when you get a lot of kids and stuff like that, you do not have a lot of extra funds to go do fun things, and so
kids drain the cash flow. You need multiple revenue streams for each child.
Exactly. So what I had to do is basically kind of wait until my adult kids started, growing up. They got up and out of the house, and what's helped there too is that, like, obviously, as you get older in your career and stuff, you make a little bit more money, which is nice. But I think the coolest thing is that Kara was like, my son came over and was like, Dad, we should go to a Broncos game. And I was like, I don't know if, we can afford something like that. I mean, we looked at the tickets, and of course it's expensive, to do that. And without even hesitating, Kara's like, well, how much is it? And I was like, oh, the tickets are going to be like about around this price, and she's just like, let's do it,
Well, it wasn't just any tickets. Our son had found seats in the 8th row, right?
Week
for
one
really
against the
good
Titans.
price.
It's going to be awesome.
And I'm like, well, what's the difference between the row 8 and row 20? Like $20. Like, it was such a good deal. I'm like, we're doing it.
Right. But it was very sweet of her to think of something like that too, and which is very cool. And so, and that's what's fun is, like, we just got back from, a trip too, and it was something that, like, I wanted to do for her, and so that's the cool thing is we both do things back and forth for each other, and it helps create trust and safety, because you're thought of, you're respected.
So, like, as a mom, as a parent, when you're in a business, in a job, whatever you're doing, we're all busy, and I tend to get, like, just down to business all the time. I'm getting things done. I'm taking care of this, taking care of that, keeping that going. Right? And so what I love about Ty is that he's also thinking ahead. What can we do together? How can we carve out time together? How can we carve out experiences together? And so he did the same thing for me. He thought ahead. He thought of us, and he found a weekend where we could do a little overnight getaway. Like, just, it was an hour and a half away or something. It wasn't that far. Get a little Airbnb and spend 2 days together. It's perfect, right? And it does. It builds trust. It builds respect. It gives you something to look forward to. We both know that we are prioritized as number one, right?
Exactly.
Our kids are not number one. We are number one, right? The kids are going to demand and need and all kinds of things. But in marriage, your relationship together is number one, right? You put the time in and the quality in to building trust with one another, building respect with one another, building time with one another. And so, yeah, it was cool. Very, very awesome of him to do that.
Well, that's what's been so fun, is that we're both doing that for each other. And then when you think about, okay, how does this correlate? What does it translate? What does it cause? What's the effect of what these efforts, and really what it leads to is straight up beautiful connection and intimacy that's unreal. It's very beautiful, and that's what's so cool, is the more you think about, okay, these are my boundaries, this is what I need as an individual, and this is what Kara needs as an individual. And then as we're bringing this together and we're working together, I know what her boundaries are, so I respect them, and I do my best to respect her and what she needs from me on my end.
Well, and it takes practice and it takes courage for both of you to speak your needs, right? So like the other day we had this scenario happen where Ty texted me to ask me about, do we have enough money to do this, X, Y, and Z, whatever, right? That's great. He's being a good partner. He's checking in with our finances. Are we good? Whatever. And so I answered him, but like the way that question came across was like, just kind of hit me the wrong way. I was like, okay, next time, what I would prefer, we both have the ability to look at our accounts and do we have enough money in there, right? Do we have that budget? So like, I can either choose in that moment to just be annoyed and hold resentment and feel like, well, I don't need to stop what I'm doing, bear all the weight, look at all the things coming up, decide on my own and say yes or no, honey, right? This is a partnership, right? So
and I heard that.
I had to find the courage in myself to choose to speak up and say, look, next time, let's figure out a way for you to also look at that information, right? Make sure we have the apps connected, make sure we have the budget pulled up for you, right? You can access it and look at it. You can look at it and review it and say, hey, here's our expenses coming up, here's what we need. Looks like we have this much extra. Are you cool if I use that much X amount to spend on this, right? Rather than, do we have enough money? Can I buy this, right?
Sure.
So there's different styles of communicating, and we both have to make sure that we're like communicating to each other and being good partnerships. And I could have chose to like just hold that irritation and resentment and feel like, I'm not your mom, I didn't need to tell you if you could spend money or not, right? Or I can say, look, next time, let's try a different way to communicate, and let's look at the deeper problem. Let's make sure you are able to see all of our apps we're using, all of our expenses, so we're all on the same page, right? And that builds trust, and that builds partnership. So,
well, see, and how that could have gone south, or it could have got miscommunicated, is like, because I was trying to be a good partner and saying, hey, this is something I was thinking about. So in a way I was trying to talk to her about that as well. And so, and I do feel like if it's something in your finances that's up over $100 or $200, you probably should be communicating with your partner.
Right, which I appreciate. I knew that was his intent.
And so that was my intention, is just to kind of basically, hey, letting you know this is something that's, coming up or whatnot. And then she, she did communicate what she needed, which I was grateful for. And I was like, well, yeah, I'd like to be on that app and have it show up, because there's a app that can help your finances too. There's a Rocket Money app. I mean, there's a lot of them online now.
This is a budgeting app and forecasting app, so it helps you see easy what expenses are coming up, that you may or may not remember. Right.
Usually not. Usually we don't remember it. But yeah, so it was cool though to be able to have that money discussion without either one of us blowing up, either one of us getting upset, either one of us getting offended. I just listened to her and what she was wanting. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And she listened to me and what I was trying to do. And she's like, oh, well, yeah, that doesn't irritate me near as much to know you were just trying to, communicate with me. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's also another thing that even if you are irritated with your partner, like try your best to see the good, in your partner. There's usually a noble underbelly to everything that's happening, and so it's worth at least trying to figure out, okay, what good could I see in my partner, instead of seeing the negative in your partner. And so that also is going to build some trust and some safety to know, because the way she handled it, I could tell she was irritated with me, and in her text and her response back, and I was like, oh, and it was the opposite of what I thought she was gonna be, because here I am, trying to communicate, hey, this is just, I just want to let you know this is something I'm doing, but it was the way I communicated it made her feel like everything's on her, and she's gonna have to be the one that checks everything and stuff like that. And so when I listened to that, I'm like, well, that's the opposite of what I would wanted you to feel anyway. So it was when we got in person, we were able to kind of have that discussion, and it worked out really well. But that's another thing to be careful of, is doing things over text and then misinterpreting things over text. Sometimes you do just got to clear the air, connect with each other, like look each other in the eye, feel the genuineness from each other, so.
Sometimes like the text is a good way to like open up put it on the table, I guess. And then when you get home in person, you can say, okay, let's talk about this now. And,
Yeah.
The other thing you said that was super cool this week is you were talking about football and like some epic, some of the best catches of all time for a touchdown or whatever, big football fan here. So he was liking this into communication, right? To be a good communicator and to be a good listener, you have to be a good what?
Receiver. Yeah, you got to be able to catch. So I was showing her Odell Beckham Jr.'s catch from Eli Manning a long time ago. It happened a while back, but it was one of the coolest. I still think it's the best catch I've ever seen. He's reached way back over his shoulder, like 4 feet back as he's falling backwards, and he's getting pass interfered at the same time, and he still makes that catch. Yeah. And so it is. I mean, it's like, listening is an art. Like I was telling her, listening's a lot like that. You got to focus. She even says, yeah, you really do. You got to pay attention. You got to see it coming. You got to try to read what's happening, and it's so true. It's just like catching a football. You got to pay attention. You got to see it coming.
And you got to not be defensive, right?
Right.
If somebody's throwing you some communication and you're like, you just get your walls up, you get your defenses down and whatever, you're scrolling your phone. It could be a number of things, right? Don't sabotage yourself, right? And say, I'm not catching that ball, screw you.
Right.
Right? You have to want to receive, right? But it also needs to be a good pass, right?
Yep.
Are you throwing shit across the field and expecting them to catch it every day? They're going to get tired of that real quick. Or are you going to give them a good pass and the other person's going to hold space to receive? They're going to be putting their phone down, so they're going to be paying attention. They're going to hold space for you to speak, to communicate, and say, oh, okay, I hear you. And I'm taking time to calm down the instant, like we get that, what do you call that?
You just feel,
resistance or the,
right. The defenses just immediately come up.
Thank you, that's what I was looking for. Defensiveness, right? but you're receiving. Receiving isn't. Are you on the defense of receiving, or is that an offensive move? I don't know, but you gotta receive it. Don't get your defenses up.
Sure.
And now it's your turn to pass back, right? Don't throw shit. Throw the football. Throw a good pass. And then the other person catches it, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is the way we deliver, is important. And she's right about like the artwork of, throwing good communication, throwing, making sure you are, she did that. So like with this money thing, she did that. She threw a good pass at me to help me understand, oh, okay, that's my intention. So when I was able to receive that, I received what she was saying, but then I was able to also say, okay, that's definitely wasn't my intention. So I was able to help her, and I passed back. Okay, this was my intention. And so once she received that, she was no longer like irritated at the situation.
And then we're working as a team. Remember, we talked about this in the last podcast, I think, that it's not you against me. It's us against this problem, right?
Exactly.
So we as a team can come together to not just communicate, but create a solution, a deeper solution. Okay, so what are we going to do to make sure that we don't have this issue again? We're going to make sure you have access to the bank accounts. We're going to make sure you have access to the app and you can know what's coming up, right? We're going to make sure we both have access to everything so we can both have all the information at our fingerprint tips, and then communicate from there and partnership from there, right? We're going to solve the problem together as a team.
A lot of times the follow through doesn't happen. So like even if you solve the problem, so like even if we get to this point where we agree, this is probably what would help this happen better next time. If we don't take the next step and actually make sure those apps are downloaded and make sure the bank accounts are lined up, or those whatever it is you're communicating, the follow through is also part of the listening, and so
taking action to make sure this is not a broken record 3 days from now, and another 3 days from now, and 2 weeks from now. Oh, here we are.
Here we are, same boat.
We're throwing shit back and forth because ain't nothing been resolved.
Right, and that's what's
not
fun. I mean, any of you guys out there, that it's just when communication goes south, obviously it doesn't work well. It happens to all of us. I think it takes a very wise person to notice when you're in maybe a negative loop and be the one that steps out of the negative loop and says, hey, I think we both need a break from this loop. And so you've got to understand there's negative communication loops that create negative energy and keep negative energy between you. And until one of you are wise enough to say, whoa, we're in one of these loops, we need to, get outside of that loop.
We're not playing football anymore. We're playing crap show.
Right. Yeah. It's more like a scrum in rugby, right? And it doesn't look so good.
Mud wrestling in a pig pen.
Right. So it's not so fun. But anyway, I think when we're looking at, though, doing kind things for each other, thoughtful things that, like she did for Father's Day. I know it's Father's Day is actually coming next week, but it was very cool that she did this today. I felt it. It was awesome. And it helped, it helps with the safety that you feel as a partner, knowing that your partner's, thinking of you. I think it helps also know that you have a partner that has your back on things, and that feels really good when your partner gets you and wants to do something kind for you. That changes things. So if you're out there and you're like kind of thinking to yourself, man, I don't know if my partner's done something like that for a while, or vice versa, I don't know if I've done something for my partner in a while, right? This is a call to action. Like, I am telling you, if you want more trust and you want more safety in your relationship, you're gonna go do something for your partner, and you're gonna ask also in return to like have a conversation about that. Like, hey, where are we missing? Let's bring us back. Whatever us that you guys like the most, whatever us that you prefer to get to, it's worth it, man. Figure it out, talk to each other, get back to the us that you desire.
What are your values? What do you like? What do you need? Ties, values, quality time, not just with me, but with the kids, right? I know that. So I'm going to give him what he wants and needs. I also do too, right? And it's a value in our marriage, right? Like, so we're prioritizing our habits and our time to our values and our boundaries that we have communicated with each other. And that's listening to those values and boundaries and putting them into daily action, planning ahead to make sure those things happen. That's what builds trust. And that's what builds safety. And that's what heals those trauma wounds from being in relationships when you were ignored, your needs were not cared about, you were not really allowed to have needs. It was all about the other person, right? And you were always last place. When you prioritize your values and boundaries together, communicate them, you each listen to each other, and you both make them priority in your marriage, that's what builds trust. That's what builds safety. That's what builds peace. That's what helps your partner be able to relax and not be on edge, waiting for, the same thing to happen again that happened last time, right? The trigger. So.
Yeah, that can be very difficult to feel unsafe in your relationship, or to feel like your partner maybe is not thinking of you, or maybe you haven't been thinking of your partner much either.
Yeah.
And so you're just maybe roommates, right? Hey, if it's that way, that is my call to action. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, our call right now, Kara and I are calling you guys to action. Your marriage is worth it. Your mm-hmm. future's worth it. You got together for a reason. Who knows? Maybe if it was a one-night stand, but then you're like, hey, I like this person, and you ended up getting together with them. You're with them for a reason. You like them for a reason. You loved them for a reason. So I think, if this resonates at all to you, take the time to really consider that. When was the last time I really liked us? And then get back to that us and communicate that and talk to your partner about this and get back to that. And if you feel like, man, it's too distant, it's too far away, we have a group that can help you guys. And so we'd be happy to have you join it. And we're starting one on June 28th at 9 a.m. And so you can go to our C.A.V.E. as well as we're going to have another page as well for that group coming here soon too. So, but yeah, it's worth it. It may not be for everybody. I'm not saying everybody needs to come to the group, but hey, if you're serious about getting your partnership back in line, mm-hmm. that is all we're going to be doing, is trying to get the us back that you guys want.
Both of you back on the same page, both of you trusting, both of you feeling safe, both of you feeling fun, right? All the things that you want to prioritize and what you want your love and relationship to look like, that's what we're going to help you build. And we're going to do that also in tandem with helping to identify triggers and not just get through them, but heal them so that you truly can feel safe enough to let your guard down, right? So.
And Kara and I are at www.cave623studios.com, and feel free to...
It's cave623.com, love.
Oh, that's our other one. That's our email. Isn't that our email? I'm pretty sure that's our email.
C.A.V.E. 623.com. That's all you need to know. Everything.
Everything's at C.A.V.E. 623. I apologize. It's at C.A.V.E. 623.com. But we do have an email, though. I'm pretty sure it's C.A.V.E. 63 Studios.
Yes.
What I was trying to say is if you do email us at the C.A.V.E. 63 Studios, we will reply.
There you go.
We will answer.
Yes.
We would
Give
be
us your
happy.
questions.
Yeah, if you have
Tell
stories
us what you're struggling with.
yes, we'd love to help. So you wouldn't, if you don't want to attend the group, that's okay. But if you would like to, and it works for you, we'd love to have you. But we'd also be happy to hear your stories, and we will reply back. That's something that Kara and I are excited about is to build with all of you, and we are passionate about helping people stay in their unions because it's going to make a stronger world.
Cycles are a thing of the past, right? Well, let's have conscious relationships. Let's build together in trust and safety and love and devotion. Be excited and fun, creating a life together, right?
Amen.
In partnership.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to add a song to the end of this, one of Ty's songs, and we'll see you next time.